All right, let's just get this out of the way. Forget everything you think you know about warfare. Because today, we're diving into how artificial intelligence, well, it isn't just changing the weapons, it's changing the very nature of conflict itself. We're talking about a brand new, totally invisible front line in global security. Yeah, I know, it's a pretty intense question, right? But it's one we absolutely have to ask. You see, as nations scramble to build up their military AI, the rulebook for war is being torn up and rewritten right in front of us. And that idea, well, that's what this whole explainer's about. So, let's break it down. What does this new arms race even look like? Well, what we're witnessing here is a tech shift so big it's on par with some of the most massive turning points in all of military history. And to really get a handle on just how huge this is, let's take a quick look back, right? You had gunpowder, completely changed the battlefield. Then came the Industrial Revolution, which made mass conflict possible. And then, of course, the nuclear age, which introduced this existential dread to everything. AI? It's the fourth big wave. And honestly, it might just be the most disruptive of them all. So I really want to be clear about this. We're not just talking about adding a cool new gadget to the military's toolkit. No way. AI is fundamentally rewriting the entire rulebook of war. I mean, everything from how intelligence is gathered to how battles are planned, it's all changing. This is a massive fundamental shift in what it even means to be a global power. Okay, so this AI arms race is happening everywhere, all at once. But today, we're going to zoom in on one nation in particular, a nation that's making a massive, calculated bet to get out in front of everyone else. In this high-stakes game of global power, you could say France is pushing all its chips to the center of the table. They're going all in on AI. But what does that actually mean in practice? Here's the number, 2.2 billion euros. Let that sink in for a second. That's how much France is betting on AI for its military. And a number that big, it just forces you to ask one simple question. Why? Look, this isn't just a shopping spree for new tech. This number, it's a huge geopolitical signal. It's France planting a flag and saying, we're going to be a leader here, not a follower. It's all about something they call strategic autonomy, which is just a fancy way of saying they want the power to make their own moves on their own terms. And of course, a big part of this is building a powerful, self-sufficient defense industry right there in France. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into that why. This isn't just money being thrown around randomly. It's all part of a very clear, very deliberate strategy. And at the absolute core of that strategy is that phrase again, strategic autonomy. For a long, long time, France has made it a top priority to be able to act on its own without needing anyone's permission. In a world where alliances can shift overnight, they see AI as the new key to being truly self-reliant. So France's whole plan here rests on 5 main pillars. First up, just stay ahead of the curve technologically. Don't get left behind. Second, make their military more effective, faster, smarter, more precise. Third, deal with all the new kinds of threats out there, like cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns. Fourth, and we've already touched on this, is to build up their own sovereign AI industry. And pillar number 5, it's all about deterrence. The thinking is pretty simple. If you have superior AI, your enemies are going to think twice before starting something. All right, so that's the why. We get it. Now for the fun part, the what. What exactly are they spending 2.2 billion euros on? What does this futuristic shopping list actually include? Okay, first on the list, autonomous drones. And we're not just talking about flying ones. We mean unmanned vehicles on the ground, in the air, and even in the sea. Machines that can find their own way, spot targets, and even make some decisions on their own. The big goal here? It's pretty straightforward. Keep human soldiers out of harm's way by sending the robots in first. Next up is something called predictive intelligence. Think about it. Modern militaries are just flooded with information. Data from satellites, sensors, online chatter, you name it. It's an absolute ocean of data. Humans can't keep up, but an AI can. It can process all of that in real time to spot threats before they happen, way faster and more accurately than any human team could ever hope to. And you knew this was coming. Cyber warriors. On the digital battlefield, AI is a double-edged sword. On one side, you're using it to build these incredible digital shields to protect your own networks. But on the other side, you're using that same tech to build offensive cyber weapons that can attack all on their own. But what's really fascinating is where the rust of this cache is going. A huge slice is for command and control.
which is basically like giving a general an AI co-pilot that helps them make better calls when the pressure's on. Then there's logistics. Imagine an AI that knows a helicopter part is going to fail before it actually breaks. That's a game changer. And finally, it's about completely overhauling training with super realistic simulations and, figuring out how humans and machines can actually work together as a team. Okay, so let's zoom back out for a minute. France isn't doing this in a bubble. A move this big, this expensive, it sends shockwaves across the whole world. It completely changes the game for everyone. And what it creates is this really dangerous cycle called the security dilemma. It's pretty simple, actually. Imagine you build a bigger fence to feel safer. Your neighbor sees your new fence, gets a little spooked, and builds an even bigger one. Now you're both less safe than when you started. That is exactly what's happening with military AI right now, but on a global scale, and with much, much higher stakes. And this really gets to the two sides of the same coin when it comes to military AI. On one side, the promise is, well, it's hard to ignore. We're talking higher precision, fewer human casualties, better defense. But the other side of that coin is terrifying. You've got the risk of accidental wars started by code, the spread of killer robots, and maybe the scariest one of all, the moment we lose real human control over who lives and who dies. So all of this, the money, the tech, the global politics, it all funnels down into one single, incredibly difficult question. A question that, honestly, we as a species are just starting to wrap our heads around. So when an autonomous weapon kills someone, who's responsible? Is it the person who wrote the code, the officer who sent it out, the country that paid for it? Or does that responsibility just kind of disappear into the ones and zeros? As we race to build these things, finding an answer to that question, it might be even more important than the technology itself. Because let's be real, if nobody's responsible, then everybody is in danger.